Survival. It's the most powerful drive we have. Long before there were supermarkets or corner shops, humanity's very existence depended on the wild. Early humans were not at the top of the food chain. They were part of it. They had to be smart, tough, and resourceful just to see the next sunrise. Hunting wasn't a sport or a hobby. It was the daily grind, the essential task that put food on the fire and kept the tribe alive. It was the ultimate test of skill and courage, a direct confrontation with nature where the stakes were incredibly high. Every hunt was a life-or-death mission. The need for survival drove everything. A successful hunt meant more than just a full belly. It provided materials for clothing from animal hides, keeping people warm against the biting cold of the Ice Age. Bones and antlers were carved into essential tools, needles for sewing, and even early forms of art. Sinew was used as strong cord for tying things together. Nothing went to waste. This deep connection to the animal world was fundamental. People understood that to survive, they had to take from nature, but they also had to respect it. It was a brutal but honest cycle of life. Hunting was a crucial part of community life. The hunters were the providers, the ones who faced danger to bring back the resources everyone needed. Their success brought celebration and security. Their failure could mean starvation and hardship for everyone, especially the young and the old. This shared purpose created strong bonds within the group. It forged a sense of unity and mutual dependence. Everyone had a role to play, whether it was hunting, gathering plants, tending the fire, or preparing the food. Survival was a team effort, and the hunt was at its very core. This primal need shaped human evolution. It forced us to develop bigger brains to think, plan, and strategize. It pushed us to create better tools and to communicate more effectively. The challenges of the hunt made us faster, stronger, and more resilient. We learned to read the signs of the wild, to understand the seasons, and to predict the behavior of animals. It was a harsh and unforgiving school, but it taught us the lessons we needed to not only survive, but eventually thrive on this planet. The instinct to hunt is etched into our DNA. The earliest hunters had to be incredibly inventive. They couldn't rely on brute strength alone, especially when facing animals much larger and more powerful than themselves. Their greatest weapon was their mind. They started with the basics, sharpened sticks and heavy rocks. Over thousands of years, these simple tools evolved. A sharpened stick became a spear, its point hardened in fire to make it more lethal. This gave hunters a bit of distance, a crucial advantage when facing a cornered beast with teeth and claws. It was a simple but brilliant innovation that changed the game entirely. The development of projectile weapons was a massive leap forward. The spear thrower, or atlatl, was a game changer. This device was essentially a lever that allowed a hunter to hurl a spear with much greater force and speed than by arm alone. It extended their reach and their power, making it possible to take down large game from a safer distance. Then came the bow and arrow, a true masterpiece of ancient engineering. It required immense skill to make and even more skill to use, but it was silent, accurate, and deadly. It allowed a lone hunter to be as effective as a group. But it wasn't all about weapons that fly. Traps and snares were the tools of the patient hunter. These were clever devices designed to catch animals when the hunter wasn't even there. A simple tripwire snare made from vine could catch a small bird or rabbit. A large pitfall trap, cleverly disguised with leaves and branches, could capture something as big as a deer or a wild boar. This method required a deep understanding of animal behavior, knowing their paths, their watering holes, and their habits. It was a battle of wits, not just strength. Every part of the environment was a potential tool. Hunters used natural materials to create their arsenal. Flint and obsidian were chipped to create razor-sharp edges for arrowheads and knives. Wood was carefully selected for its strength and flexibility to make spear shafts and bows. Animal sinew and plant fibers were twisted into strong cordage for bowstrings and snares. This intimate knowledge of nature's resources was essential. The wild wasn't just the hunting ground. It was the hardware store, the armory, and the workshop all in one. A successful hunt began long before an animal was in sight. It started with tracking. An ancient hunter was a master detective, able to read the story of the landscape. A broken twig, a faint footprint in the mud, or disturbed leaves on the forest floor were all vital clues. They could tell what kind of animal had passed, how big it was, how fast it was moving, and even if it was injured. This wasn't just about sight. It was about using all the senses. The smell of an animal on the wind, the sound of a distant call. These were all pieces of the puzzle. Understanding the prey was key. Hunters knew the rhythms of the natural world inside and out. They knew where animals would go for water at dawn, where they would rest in the heat of the day, and which paths they would take through the mountains. They studied their food sources and their migration patterns. This deep ecological knowledge allowed them to predict where their prey would be, saving them from days of fruitless searching. They had to think like the animal to anticipate its next move. It was a mental chess game played out across vast, untamed landscapes. Often, the most effective way to hunt, especially for large game, was to work as a team. A single hunter might stand a little chance against a giant mammoth or a herd of bison, but a coordinated group was a formidable force. Teamwork required communication, strategy, and trust. Hunters would use hand signals or quiet calls to coordinate their movements. They would work together to drive animals towards a cliff, into a trap, or into an ambush where other hunters were waiting. Each person had a specific role, and the success of the hunt depended on everyone doing their part perfectly. Sharing the prize was the final and most important step. When a large animal was brought down, it was a victory for the entire community. The food was shared among all the families, ensuring that everyone, from the youngest child to the oldest elder, had enough to eat. This act of sharing reinforced the social bonds that held the tribe together. It was a powerful reminder that they were all in it together, dependent on one another for survival. The hunt wasn't about individual glory, it was about the collective well-being of the group. Comparing ancient hunting to modern methods reveals a world of difference. Today, hunting for many is a regulated sport, often done with high-powered rifles, advanced camouflage, and GPS devices. The connection to raw survival has faded. For our ancestors, it was the opposite. Every hunt was a gritty, hands-on struggle. They faced their prey up close, using tools they made with their own hands. The risk was immense, and the physical and mental challenge was all-consuming. Modern hunting is about precision and technology. Ancient hunting was about instinct, courage, and deep, hard-won knowledge of the natural world. The lessons from these ancient ways are still incredibly relevant today. They teach us the importance of resourcefulness, the ability to make do with what you have and to see potential in the world around you. They show us the value of patience and observation, skills that are easily lost in our fast-paced world. The ancient hunter had to be completely present and aware, tuned into every sight and sound. This level of mindfulness is something we can all learn from. It's about being connected to your environment, not just passing through it. Perhaps the most important lesson is about our connection to nature. Ancient hunters understood they were part of a complex web of life. They had a profound respect for the animals they hunted because their survival depended on them. They didn't take more than they needed, and they used every part of the animal. This sustainable mindset is a powerful reminder for us today as we face modern environmental challenges. It teaches us to see nature not as a commodity to be exploited, but as a system we depend on and must protect for future generations. Ultimately, rediscovering these ancient techniques connects us to a fundamental part of who we are. It reminds us of the resilience, ingenuity, and deep-seated survival instincts that allowed our ancestors to overcome incredible odds. These skills are not just relics of the past, they are part of our human heritage. Understanding the ways of the ancient hunter gives us a deeper appreciation for the food we eat, the world we live in, and the incredible journey of humanity. It's a raw and powerful story of survival, and it's written in our very bones.